Hello everyone, my name is actually I can't see it. I mean, from the video itself, we already know what is it all about. Let's just get straight into it. So, a few days ago, Spider-Man: No Way Home got released, and let's just say it's definitely a wow. It's definitely a wow movie indeed. So in this video, I'm just gonna divide it into two sections. First is the non-spoiler version of the review, and then we have the spoiler version of the review, which I get in more in depth and explain more about the scenes or what I like and dislike from this film. I'm just gonna make this non-spoiler review short, so let's start it off first so that you can just watch it and go on with your day. Spider-Man: No Way Home, amazing film, amazing plot. I absolutely loved it from start to finish. There were a lot of moments that were amazing. As per usual in any Marvel films, they have that amazing sense of humor with that nice balance of action and adventure and character development and just pure story. Overall rating, I could give this film a 9 out of 10. And if you want to know why, well, that's going to include some of the spoilers because I don't think I can cover it up without spoiling. Also, if you're already here, make sure you subscribe and turn the notifications on, by the way. So let's start off with the spoiler review. I'm just going to paste this here. You have been warned and be prepared. So the plot, obviously, it's an amazing plot just because of the fact that this is a story which is more close to Spider-Man and more specifically Peter Parker itself. I think the past two films, or to be honest, any of the Spider-Man films except the Tobey Maguire's one, they really touched into the idea of being Spider-Man and having that responsibility with that great power, of course. But this film, it felt completely different. I think every single problem in this film had so much connection to Spider-Man and Peter Parker together. And this felt more of a Peter Parker film than a Spider-Man film, of course. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of Spider-Man related stuff. Obviously, we have that web swinging that Spider-Man does and all of the friendly neighborhood stuff he does. Tom Holland still does a great job acting as Spider-Man and Peter Parker at the same time. He's just been phenomenal. I think the plot was just amazing because it took a different side that we don't see normally. I mean, we have seen in Batman and even Superman, to be honest, where heroes kind of hide their identity and who they really are by wearing a mask or for some reason spectacles. Don't know about that. But Spider-Man is no different. He wears a mask and his identity isn't really revealed to the public. So the public do not really know who is Spider-Man. So Far From Home obviously ended with a note where everyone knows who Spider-Man is and his face is all over the screens of New York and everything. So this movie addresses that and it continues from that Far From Home ending, and it just shows how Peter Parker is. He's very vulnerable in this film throughout because of how his identity is revealed to the world. Everyone is on his tail and there's always media and press. He's being constantly watched and constantly checked upon, not just as Spider-Man, but his personal life is also out in the public, and to the point where his friends are also facing issues. They can't get a seat in MIT because of their involvement with Spider-Man. It's stressful, and you see that pressure on Peter Parker. Great job on that in the film. I think that was a very interesting point of view. In certain points, the plot takes a turn and heads to a different direction to where the film is going to go. They did it in a very good way where it was very smooth and you clearly know where the film was really heading. For example, the plot obviously starts off with, Peter Parker being exposed to the public, and then it takes a turn and you have all these villains coming into the universe, and then becomes where Peter Parker feels like he wants to cure these villains. The story goes on from there, and that was just a very nice flow of the film, so I really enjoyed that. I think the pacing of the film is amazing. I don't think there's any problem with that. It didn't really feel very fast. Even though it's 2 hours 28 minutes, it didn't really feel that long. So everything was paced correctly and it was just amazing to watch from start to finish. I think the supporting actors and roles throughout this whole film play much more of a crucial role than the previous two films, especially MJ and Ned. I think they have more of an involvement in the entire narrative than Far From Home or even Homecoming. I think they got highlighted pretty well in the entire film, and you see more of their perspectives and sides, of course. Let's talk about the villains of this film. I think they're just amazing. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say every single villain in this film is amazing. First of all, they don't really need any character development because most probably everyone who is watching this film, or most of the people watching this film, have already watched the previous Spider-Man films and know more about these villains. If you have not watched, then you're just a small kid in it. To see each one of them appearing on the screen, it was such an amazing moment, and I was very excited. And I still am. The chills of these villains definitely still are present, of course. Villains like Doc Ock and Green Goblin, they stood out very well in this entire film, and to see their memorable lines and their sort of connection to that Spider-Man universe is sort of highlighted in this entire film, and you see that a lot, so that is amazing. There is a villain that I would like to complain about, and that is Lizard. I don't know why, but his CGI looks a little bit off in my opinion, and throughout this entire film I feel like Lizard was probably the least favorite villain. It's a weird thing to say because not all of these villains are going to be given equal screen time, so that's not a problem. The problem was it felt a little bit off seeing the Lizard in this film because we saw him in Amazing Spider-Man 1, and they did a great job developing his character. And to see him in this film sort of just muted, and his character didn't really shine that well at all, and he was more of a supporting villain because once you saw him as a main villain and then now you see him as sort of a supporting villain, didn't really feel that well to me. It's probably a minus point in terms of the villains here. Other than that, I think they were involved in the fight very well. They have great action sequences, they have good chemistry with each one of them, and yeah, they were just amazing to watch all together. There were a few minus points of this film, of course, and that is first, I want to talk about Doctor Strange. Where do I begin with this guy? First of all, Benedict Cumberbatch is playing this role, so I absolutely hated Doctor Strange. No, I'm just kidding, okay? I still hate Benedict, but that's just my opinion in it, and I don't care. But yeah, I feel like Doctor Strange was painted very weak in this entire film, which beats off his entire persona. If you've seen in the previous Avengers films or even in his own film, he went through all these 6 millions and billions of possibilities to find a way to defeat Thanos, and then here you see him very weak. So it felt very off. It felt like he was so much weaker. It didn't really feel well, trust me. I mean, I get it why he wasn't present in the entire of the film. Obviously, it's a Spider-Man film at the end of the day, and you really want Peter Parker, Tom Holland, Spider-Man to really shine out and do all of these cool decisions, show that he's capable of everything and he's a hero at the end of the day. But when you have portrayed Doctor Strange as this amazing sorcerer and amazing wizard, and he's capable of anything and he's very strong, to see him sort of weakened and have little to no strength, more specifically, it didn't feel well. I feel like he was pretty much a minus point of this film in terms of all the characters. Another minus point I want to add is Venom. If you have watched Venom Let There Be Carnage, if you have seen the credit scene, you would have known there's a scene where Venom, or Eddie Brock as well, getting transported or teleported or whatever ported to the MCU universe, and they see Peter Parker's face on the television. And then when I saw this film, I didn't really see anything about Eddie Brock until the credit scene where he was actually in the film. He just got vanished after that. So he just spent like a minute talking and then he vanished. And then he leaves a symbiote behind. So you're telling me that the whole point of having Eddie Brock in this film was to have a symbiote in the MCU universe. Good job. So, with that being said, we have to address the elephant in the room. These two Spideys. Yes, they were inside of this film, so any of you who rumored or believed or were confident that these two guys definitely in this film, good job to you. I hope you're happy. I hope you're relieved. I hope you get some money or something. I mean, I didn't really fall into the hype of them being in the film because I didn't want to get myself excited and then get myself disappointed if I find out they're not in the film. But I already watched the film, and after seeing the film, they were in it, and they were amazing. When I saw Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire, it was a nostalgia season, definitely. It just brought back all the memories of them in their own universe, in their own films, on how they solve their problems, the action sequences, the lines, the Spider-Man dance. Like all of that just came into my mind when I see them. I really like the parts where they explained sort of their Spider-Man things, shall we say? Like there was a scene where they were explaining about the web shoots where Tobey Maguire's web comes out from his wrists. So that was a nice scene to see. Obviously they had the emotional moment of them sharing their losses and all. And those little things are the ones that really made it's so memorable to see them all together in the scene. My concern with having all of these Spider-Mans in a film was that it wouldn't give Tom Holland the shining that he needed, because at the end of the day, this is Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man, and you want that particular Spider-Man to shine through, and they absolutely nailed it. I think even though with the addition of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in the film, Tom Holland still shines so much better, and definitely made it his own film. So that was definitely a nice thing to see. So yeah, with that being said, I think I'm just gonna give this film a straight rating, a 9 out of 10. Yeah. I don't think it's 10 out of 10 because again, the Doctor Strange whole character in this entire film and villains like Lizard feels pretty off in this film, so I think I would just put it at 9 out of 10. And also I did put out a story saying it's 2 out of 10. That's just to troll. To be fair, I did get one or two replies, like a few right here, so I mean people did get a little bit like off guard, I guess. I also did get people who agreed which was a little bit off. I didn't really expected it. Some people were like, this wasn't that amazing, it wasn't worth the hype. Yeah, that's it for the review. I hope you guys enjoyed. I am really expecting for great Spider-Man movies ahead. Next year there's gonna be another Spider-Verse film, so that is very exciting. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy the video. Do subscribe, like the video, and let me know what do you rate Spider-Man No Way Home. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.